Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy DLloyd. So today we're going to be going over who I believe are the top 10 rookies from the 2018 NBA draft. We are just about over with Summer League. When I'm recording this, it is Saturday, July 14th. Of course, I am on vacation right now, but it is Saturday. Summer League isn't quite over, but we have a lot of time that we had to look at these rookies and kind of evaluate. Some of these guys really haven't played much, and some of these guys have struggled. Some of these guys have impressed, but I'm going to give you who I think are going to be the top 10 rookies from this 2018 NBA draft. Of course, we're going from 10. We're going to 1. But before we get into the countdown, I'm going to list some players that I did not include in my top 10. But I think have a potential to be special, and either they're not on the list because maybe there's somebody better above them, or we just simply haven't seen enough of them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go through those players right now. The first one is, of course, Michael Porter Jr. Yes, I have not included Michael Porter Jr. in my top 10. An unbelievable talent. But the reason why I haven't included him in my top 10 is I haven't seen him enough at Missouri, and I haven't seen him at all in the NBA or even in the Summer League. It looks like he could potentially miss some time this season, potentially even miss the entire year. So I don't know exactly what you're getting from Michael Porter Jr., how that back is going to hold up, and how his game is truly going to translate. But I do like what I've seen from Michael Porter Jr. I'm just not confident enough yet to throw him in that top 10 because, like I said, I don't know exactly how everything is going to turn out for Michael Porter. So that is the reason why I decided to leave him off the list. But I do think the Denver Nuggets drafting him, high risk, high reward, definitely has the potential, though, to be an all-star in the NBA. The next guy left off the list is Aaron Holiday, point guard for the Indiana Pacers out of UCLA. He's been looking pretty good to me. I like what Aaron Holiday could bring. I think he has potential. I do think it's going to take a couple of seasons for him to develop. But I do like him. I think he brings a nice, solid point guard. The only knock will be his size, of course, only 6 feet, 6'1", but he's a solid point guard. Never think he will ever be top point guard in the NBA, but he will be a very, very solid one, like I just said. I like Aaron Holiday. I like him teaming up with a lot of the teammates in Indiana, especially with Victor Oladipo. I think he will be a good complement to Victor. So I do like Aaron Holiday a lot. Going to L.A., Mo Wagner. I think Mo Wagner is a very, very talented big. He can stretch the floor. He can grab rebounds. He sometimes looks a little slow on the defensive side of the end, but I think Mo Wagner for the Lakers is going to be a great pick, especially him and Lonzo on the pick and pop, or him and LeBron James now in the pick and pop. I think that could be deadly. I think he's going to get a little bit more time than people expect playing-wise this season. JaVale McGee, of course, going to be the starter, but Mo Wagner is going to definitely get playing time. He has showed up so far in the Summer League, and I am impressed. They drafted him with the 25th pick in the first round. I think he's going to be a solid big man. I like his game a lot. Another big man who I also am intrigued with is Mitchell Robinson. Me, as a personal Lakers fan, I wanted the Lakers to go with Mitchell Robinson. Now, if you don't know his story, he was the top center coming out of high school. He decided to go to Western Kentucky University. However, he never actually played for Western Kentucky. So he went there. He was only there for, I believe, a month, maybe 2 months. He decided to leave, and he worked out for an entire year instead of actually playing. So no college tape at all. But from what I've seen in the Summer League from Mitchell Robinson, this guy is still one of the best big men in this draft class. I think he has a lot of potential. The New York Knicks and the fans, I think they're going to like Mitchell Robinson, what he could bring, especially in the future. He has all the tools to be a very, very good center. I like Mitchell Robinson. Now, somebody who I think could be the steal of the draft, just simply because where he was selected, middle of the second round, is Mykhailiuk. I could be saying his name wrong, but this kid is an absolute beast. I've been watching him in the Lakers Summer League, and Mykhailiuk has been looking very, very good to me. This guy can shoot. He has little short arms, but this kid can absolutely shoot. I believe he's 6'8". Not the fastest, most athletic, but a nice ball handler. He's quick. He could get open, a nice little step back game. And this guy's just a pure shooter and a pure scorer. I like that. I think he'll be a pretty solid player as well, and a very good complementary piece, you know, especially for the Lakers. Don't have a lot of shooters, so he can maybe get a couple of minutes here and there, and he can contribute that to the Lakers. I wouldn't expect him right away to, of course, make a huge splash, but watch out for this kid. I think he's a very, very good talent. Now, going into the actual top 10, we are going at number 10. And to me, it is Trey Young. Yes, Trey Young, point guard out of Oklahoma for the Atlanta Hawks. I have him at number 10. He's struggled. He's had great moments. He's also had very, very low moments so far in the NBA Summer League. When he played in Utah, he looked awful. Shot 23%. Really did not look good. Had games where he was 1 from 11 from the three-point line. Shot a couple of air balls. Looked flustered. Did not really bring any of the game that we've seen from Oklahoma into the Summer League. But when he went to Vegas, he kind of turned that corner a little bit, started looking a little bit better, and he had some games where he scored over 20 points. Still only shooting in the 30%. You want that to be a little higher, especially for a player like Trey Young. His passing game, what I think is underrated, it has looked good, but I'm still holding on to my initial evaluation on Trey Young, and that is that I think his ceiling is only a solid point guard in the NBA. I don't think he's ever good enough to be a true all-star. I don't think he'll be an all-NBA player whatsoever. I think he's okay, but I think that's his ceiling. He could be borderline bust to okay. I think that is Trey Young. The fact that he could shoot from so far and the fact that he could hit at a nice clip, especially when he gets hot, I think that will always keep his value in the NBA strong. His passing game could also keep it, but his defense, liability, and his shot selection, also a liability. But hopefully he can develop that shot selection, make it a little bit better, tighten up his game. So the potential reasons is why he could be 10. But like I said, the ceiling is just a very solid NBA point guard. I never think he'll take that next step. Now, somebody who could potentially move a little bit higher and who I have at number 9 is Collin Sexton, point guard for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, coming out of Alabama, I liked Collin Sexton's game. One of my criticisms for Collin Sexton was I think he needs a few years to develop. One thing I loved about him was his mentality and his eagerness to really learn and become that good point guard. So that's why I move him ahead of Trey Young, because I think long-term wise, Collin Sexton definitely figured it out. Now, he is surprising me because he's playing better than I initially expected so far in the Summer League. I like Collin Sexton more for the future. I think he's definitely going to be a very, very legitimate point guard in the NBA. I think his ceiling is even higher than Trey Young's. I think he's going to play defense for you. If he could learn how to perfectly execute that pick and roll, Collin Sexton, because the way he turns that corner is really, really nice. But you want to make sure he has that vision to be able to dump it off either to the roller or to the guy on the pop. He hasn't really developed that yet, but he's still performing well. I like Collin Sexton a lot. I think he will be a very, very good guy, maybe even a potential all-star at some point in the NBA. I think Collin Sexton is that high, and I think, you know, he's overperforming his expectations as of right now. Definitely a great sign, and I am a fan of Collin Sexton and Cleveland taking him with the 8th overall draft pick. Now, who I have at 8 is Wendell Carter Jr., center from the Chicago Bulls. This kid, fantastic. He has all the tools. His low post game has been, surprising me, and I have been impressed with it so far in the Summer League. Wendell Carter Jr., I like him. I think this guy could potentially be an all-star. This is a very stacked class. So you're going to hear me saying that for just about everybody else on this list. I think they could all potentially be all-stars. But Wendell Carter Jr. has a great situation with Chicago. I think Chicago has a very good young core. And now, as of this morning, the signing of Jabari Parker, I even think that helps out as well down there. Very, very exciting young core. Marketing, he helps out. He can stretch out the floor. And I think Carter Jr., a very, very good foundation. He has a nice low post game, like I said, that has impressed me. But the situation is what I like probably the most. And I think he can truly develop down there in Chicago. And I think he will be a very, very good borderline all-star type of center in the NBA. Now, coming in at number 7, up and down as well so far in the Summer League, and that is Marvin Bagley III, the 2nd overall draft pick from the Sacramento Kings. He came out. He looked fantastic. He had that dunk over Mo Wagner that everybody was excited about. But then he kind of took a step back a little bit, and then he had games where he'll look decent again. So I think Marvin Bagley is a guy who probably will take a few years to really get it together. The reason why I still have him at 7 as opposed to some of the guys ranked below him is because his potential is still through the roof. You have an incredibly athletic and mobile big who could do everything on the court for you. I think he just needs to put the pieces together. I don't think it'll take too long, though. I think eventually he'll get things rolling. Even if it is the back half of year number 1, I think eventually he'll get into the groove of things. It may not even take him that long. Yes, he has struggled, but he's also shown flashes of being a very, very solid player so far in the Summer League. So I have Marvin Bagley at number 7. I know he was drafted number 2. But some of these guys ahead of him have been fantastic so far. And we're going now to number 6. And at number 6, we have Mohamed Bamba. Yes, Mo Bamba. This guy is a freak. His length, incredible. Wingspan, incredible. And his game, especially with his length, is incredible. So Mo Bamba, this guy can shoot threes. He could work down low. He could get block shots. He could grab a few rebounds. He could do just about everything that you want for the Orlando Magic. I don't love the fit in Orlando, but him being down there, he will be able to develop, I believe. He should get enough playing time, and I think he will be a factor. Lengthy kid, gets a lot of blocks. I do see him getting bullied down low a little bit too much, but that's going to come over time. He will bulk up a little bit, and he will just learn some nuances that will help him grab a few more rebounds. Of course, he was bullied by DeAndre Ayton, a much bigger, center. But Mo Bamba still brings a lot. I like his game when he's stretching out. He can shoot. He's still into that modernized NBA style where small ball counts, but they want big men who can stretch the floor. Mo Bamba could do all of that. So the fact that you have the length, that you can play down low, you can shoot, you can improve, some of your footwork in the post game. But what you have right now is already more than enough. I like Mo Bamba. I have him at number 6. I think this kid could be great. I think he will be an all-star. I like what he has. And just in a few years, I think he'll be a fantastic center for the Orlando Magic. Now, at number 5, I could be a little bit biased. He went to Kentucky. I'm an alum of the University of Kentucky. But we have Kevin Knox, who was drafted by the New York Knicks at number 9 in the draft. And this kid, I watched him a lot, of course, in college. I watched a lot of the Kentucky games in person or, of course, on TV. But Kevin Knox is a guy who could truly develop into a crazy scorer. I think he could be a guy who could really, really be, for sure, an all-star every single season, but a guy who could start, eventually start trying to make an all-pro team. I think he's definitely that type of talent. The only knock I have on Kevin Knox is his motor in terms of how much is he going to show up every single night. Kentucky, we depended on Kevin Knox to be that go-to scorer, and many of the nights he showed up and he was definitely that guy. But there was also many of nights where he was not that guy. He forces a lot of his shots at times as well. And sometimes he could just flat out disappear, and you can look around and say, where's Kevin Knox at? And he could have 5-minute spans, 8-minute spans where he doesn't show up. But what I've seen so far in the Summer League kind of been the opposite. That motor has been going constantly for him. He has been showing out. The shooting percentage isn't the highest, but he's having that aggressiveness that's allowing him to get points, allowing him to impress a lot of people. So I do like what Kevin Knox can do. I think the only issue will be the motivation and how long can he continue to push his game and push that same competitiveness that he has. When he's on his game, when he's motivated and he's ready to go, Kevin Knox, an incredible talent. I love his game. I think he could definitely be very, very special in this league. So that's why we have Kevin Knox at number 5. Now going to number 4, you had to throw in Luka Doncic. Now we haven't seen him at all. Only video we've really seen of him with the Dallas Mavericks was shooting a shot from half court and hitting a fixture on the ceiling. But other than that, of course, Luka Doncic, you're going off of his tape from overseas. To me, he was one of the harder guys to grade coming into the draft just because I like what I've seen overseas, of course. But it's hard for me to truly measure the talent because you don't know a lot of the players he's playing against. I know the professionals. I know a lot of those teams are extremely talented and can beat some of the teams we have in the NBA. But at the same time, you don't know exactly who is going up against it every single video, every single game. And that's why he is harder to kind of grade out. But Luka Doncic, the biggest question mark probably out of these top 5s, but potential through the roof, a big guard. He's going to be able to complement Dennis Smith Jr. I think he has a very good situation down there in Dallas, a great pickup by them. And I think he's in a good situation. Even Dirk could be there to mentor him a little bit as well. I like his situation in Dallas. I think he will develop into a very, very good point guard. Of course, he has the biggest ability to move up and down on this list. He can move higher. He can move a little bit lower. We'll see once he actually gets into the NBA, of course. We'll see once he starts playing in those games. But so far, Luka Doncic, I'm going to slide him at 4. But like I said, he's the piece that probably can move the most on this list. And we'll revisit this, of course, a few months into the season and see how this list stacks up from what it is currently. Now, at number 3, this could shock you a little bit, but I'm going with Gilgeous-Alexander, the guy who I thought was the best point guard coming into the draft. He is still looking to me as if he's the best point guard in the 2018 NBA draft class. Going to the Clippers, another good situation for him. I think he'll be able to learn under Doc Rivers, who had a history, of developing some point guards. He had Chris Paul under him. He had Rajon Rondo under him. And I think he even made his son look a little bit better as well. But Gilgeous-Alexander in Summer League, looking very solid to me. He's going to play defense. He's going to improve. And that's one of the reasons why I love Gilgeous-Alexander. He is going to improve a lot. When he came into Kentucky and he was initially at UK, he was one of our lowest recruits. So all of our recruits are pretty decent. He was on the bottom of the totem pole, came off the bench. Nobody really had high expectations for him. Fast forward until the end of the season, we're playing the conference tournament, and before March Madness, he was our go-to guy. Even took over from Kevin Knox at times as our go-to player, and he was just trusted by Coach Calipari to really just run the offense and dictate a lot of things. And you've seen that improvement over just a few months at Kentucky. I think that will continue in the NBA. I think this kid is truly special. I think he has the work ethic. I think he has the will to win and to really learn and to develop. And you combine all that with his current skill set, I think this kid could truly, truly be special. I would not be surprised if he's in the running for Rookie of the Year. I would not be surprised even if he won Rookie of the Year with the Clippers. I like this kid. I think the Clippers are extremely high on this kid, and he's going to play more than a lot of people expect him to play. And I think he's going to make, a little bit more noise than a lot of people are going to expect him to make. So I have him at number 3. Now going to number 2, we're going with Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Memphis Grizzlies. The 4th overall draft pick, Jaren Jackson Jr. This kid is special, you guys. Mark my words, this kid is definitely special. He has the body and the frame to be that legitimate big man. Yes, he's a power forward. He's going to be playing alongside Marc Gasol, and they will help each other out. But he has that body and that frame that a lot of players, especially if you're playing small ball and you're trying to guard them, are going to have problems trying to stop. Jaren Jackson Jr. could do everything. He even had a game where he hit 8 threes already. This kid could do everything. I like his game a lot. This kid's truly going to be special for me. The Memphis Grizzlies, they got a bargain. Got him at number 4. Maybe he could have went a little bit higher. I'm not quite sure, but they got him at 4. I think this kid's going to be special. I love watching him play, even in the Summer League so far. Of course, you can't always translate Summer League directly to the NBA, but I like Jaren Jackson Jr. from what I've seen so far. I'm going to rank him as the number 2 rookie from this entire NBA draft class. Jaren Jackson Jr. to me, he could do just about everything for you. I truly like him, and this kid is definitely going to be special. Him and Marc Gasol in your front court, I think is really going to be a good thing for him, and hopefully everything could work out with him in Memphis. Now, at number 1, of course, the number 1 overall pick, DeAndre Ayton, has not disappointed to me at all. In Summer League, this kid's doing everything for you, getting you about 18 points, getting you about 12 rebounds every single game in Summer League. This guy, you see him, he looks like he's improving almost every single game. There has been times where maybe he had an off game here or been a little lackluster, but you see the flashes and you see the consistency still from DeAndre Ayton. This guy is definitely going to be a problem in the NBA. He's going to be a problem with Devin Booker. I think him and Devin Booker are going to wreak havoc. It's going to take a few years for it to come to fruition, but in a few seasons, the Suns will be a problem mainly because of Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton. I think DeAndre Ayton, you can't teach that size. You can't teach, his body frame. He has the skill set. He can stretch out. He can play down low. He can play defense, get blocks, grab rebounds, position himself fairly well. Footwork is pretty good. I like DeAndre Ayton. He's a guy you had to take at number 1. He's the number 1 rookie for me so far in the 2018 NBA draft class. I'm extremely excited for him. I think he's going to be every single year in the running to be a top center in the league already. I think just year 1, year 2, people are going to start looking at him as one of the premier big men in our game. So I'm excited for a lot of these rookies. I think this draft class is even going to be better than the 2017 draft class. I think this draft class is going to be very, very good. And amazingly, it's very good because a lot of the big men in this class, I will say this class is probably one of the return of the center and the power forward positions really being, coveted, because there's so many great ones that were in this class. Of course, I will make another video towards the end of December, early January, where I'm going to talk about who are the top rookies so far once we go through about 2 months of the regular season. But for right now, only got to see a little bit of Summer League. Like I said, I'm recording this July 14th, so it's a Saturday. Summer League isn't officially over yet, but I think I've seen enough. Like I said, I'm on vacation this week, so needed pre-recorded content. But I think pretty good draft class. I'm excited to see what this is. But you guys let me know in the comment section below, who are your top rookies out of the 2018 NBA draft? And let me know. I'm not afraid of criticism. Who do I have ranked entirely too high? Who do I have ranked entirely too low? And who do I not have ranked at all that could potentially be your sleeper or a guy that I'm just simply overlooking? Let me know how you guys feel about all of this in the comment section below. It's your boy DLloyd. I'm going to see y'all next time. Peace.